Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing another Ruby on Rails speedrun. This time we're going to be using the noticed gem for notifications. We're going to be doing real-time notifications using Turbo. This does mean we're going to have to add devise. We're going to have to add a post model with a comment model. So we'll be creating comments on posts, and if a new comment is written on the post, the author of that post will be notified without needing to refresh the page. However, they won't be notified if they're the ones that created the comment on their own post because they know they did it. This video is brought to you by learn.deanin.com. That's right, I'm bringing you this video. I have a course now. Go check it out. Link in the video description. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, there's a lot to cover, a lot to get through. This took me about 47 minutes to set up originally. I did run a timer while I did it today, so you guys have that info. But I'm going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, and I'm actually going to move this down, and then we'll say 1, go. We're going to do a Rails new video -j es build -c bootstrap -d postgresql. You can go ahead and run that. Now I'm going to type some more commands. We'll cd into our video. We'll do a and to bundle add devise. I typoed devise again. And the noticed gem, we can then do a and to rails g devise :install and rails g devise user and we can do a rails g scaffold post title body of type text post user : references. And now we have to, unfortunately, clear this and go back because the devise, I think, or the Rails right here had a typo in it. My keyboard has been doing this all day and it's driving me insane. Okay, so we have all of that, user : references. Let's go ahead and run that. That should give us our devise users, I believe. And then our post, then we'll generate the comment stuff, and then we'll do the noticed stuff afterwards. So that gives us all of that. Let's do a Rails G model comment with a body of type text, a post : references, and a user : references. We then need to do a Rails G controller comments. See, it keeps doing it. I think something's up with my mechanical keyboard. Might need to clean that out later again, even though I just did that like a week ago. Okay, so that gives us all that. Now we need to do a Rails G noticed, and we need to say this is a noticed : model, I think. And then we have to do a Rails G noticed, and I think it's : notification. And then we have to do a comment notification. Go ahead and run that. Hopefully that works. Okay, cool. Now let's do a Rails DB : drop. DB : create, DB : migrate. Because we're using Postgres, we do have to reset the database. That looks like that worked. Let's go ahead and let's do a code dot to open this up in VS Code. We're already 2 minutes in. Thankfully, that is a lot of the heavier typing part done. Now we can go ahead and clear this. Let's do a bin/dev to start the server. Go over to localhost port 3000. Make sure nothing too broken is happening. Then we'll come into the routes.rb, localhost didn't work, there we go. I'm gonna hit Control+ a couple times so you can actually see this. And then in here, what we have to do is say the root should be the post controller index action. The posts need to have a resources for the comments, but only for the create action, because we're only gonna be creating comments because we're more focused on the notifications. Then we have to come into the app, the models actually, and the user.rb, because the user is gonna have many posts, which are also going to be dependent destroy, and then we're going to need the same thing for the comments, I believe. So we'll just say comments dependent destroy. We can then grab this and come into the post. This will has many comments as well. It belongs to a user, that's fine. The comment belongs to a post and belongs to a user. Okay, so the first thing to really think about here is going to be the comment itself as we start creating these notifications. So we have to say this has noticed notifications. There goes the double C again for some reason. I think that's fine. We don't need anything else here. We do need to say after create commit, we want to broadcast the notifications. So, but let's start by setting up the comments themselves. To do that, we have to come into the posts and we have to come into the post index page. In the post index page, we're going to have to do something similar to, well, first we're going to have like a render for a layout/session manager. Just in case we want to use this in more than one place. Let's go ahead and let's copy that. We come into layouts, new file, _session, _manager.html.erb. In here, what we want to do is say if the current _user, then we want to link to the logout page with a destroy user session path, a data of, because we have turbo, we have to say turbo method, colon, delete, and a class of btn-primary, something like that. And then if we aren't the current user, we should have a link to the login page with a new user session path and a class of btn-primary, something like that, %end. Do that. Okay, so that gives us our login, logout buttons. That's fine. We then want to sort of use this in our posts, but first we want to say this should not be a render post. This should be a post.title, something like that, just so we have that on the index page. Now in the post partial itself, we do not need the user ID. Same thing for the form, just like the other day. And then in here, what we want to do is say this should have a render for the comment/form, which should take in the post, the locals, which will be the post, which will be this post, and a comment that is going to be a comment.new. We can then come into the comments and we can right click new file _form.html.erb. Inside of this form, we want to render we want to do a form with a model, and then we're going to wait for GitHub Copilot. It'll forget the end tag here like it always does. That's fine though. We can come in here and type end. We have the post, we have the comment errors. That looks fine. The body also looks fine. That's good. Right click new file. We are going to need to create a _comment.html.erb. This comment partial right here is going to have to do a turbo frame tag for a DOM ID of comment. And then we want to do, and then down here we'll do an end. So basically this is a container, and then everything we put in here will be replaced when we call a turbo frame replace, because it's going to replace the stuff in the DOM ID of the comment, because that's basically just a comment underscore and then the ID string for like a div, right? It's just a fancy div. Best way to look at it. We're then going to put the comment body inside of a p tag, and then when we have to append a new comment, it's just going to be appended inside of this form, which means it comes with this turbo frame attached to it. So that's fancy. We'll right click new file _comments.html.erb, because in the actual comments themselves, we also want to do something like this. We want to say this is a turbo frame tag, and we can do a comments underscore, and I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but we'll do a DOM ID for the post. And then we can come over here, close the quotes, put a do block, and then in here we can do a post.comments.each do comment, and then we can end this, and then right here we can say this is a render for the comment, just like that. Okay, so that gives us all of our comments and our form. Let's come into the post show page. We have the comments form here. After the comments form, we then want to do a something like a I guess above this we'll do a turbo underscore stream underscore from comments underscore, and then there should be a DOM ID for the post, and then we can leave it like that. We have our comments form, but then we want to come down here and do another render for the comments/comments, and we'll pass in the post. I don't know if this is how we should be doing it, but it's what my brain can think of right now, because I don't reference my notes for everything when I do this. Inside of the post controller, we want to have a before action to authenticate the user, except for the index and show. In the create, want to say at post.user equals current underscore user. Want to come down here, make sure the user ID doesn't exist there. And then inside of the actual post controller, we're going to want to do something like at post, and then afterwards we say if current underscore user. So if we are authenticated in this route, we want to grab the notifications for the current user, notifications reverse, because that'll give us the last ones, and then we can do a current underscore user notifications mark underscore as underscore red. So this will mark the notifications as red whenever we refresh the home page, and this will grab all of the notifications. It'll reverse them so that you get the newest notifications first, because by default it starts with an ID of 1, then 2, then 3. This way it starts with an ID of 99, then 98, etc. That gives us all of our notifications. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we have to come into our notifications folder, and I don't remember where that is. It looks like it's right here, the comment notification. This is where you would set up your delivery methods. I want one of them to be a database, but you could also add a custom one for like Discord. It is covered on the GitHub page. Now for this message, I'm actually going to change this to the comment. The way this works is it gives you access to the params. We can come in here and we can grab the params for the message. This is a little bit deceptive. It's the params for the message, which in this case, the message param, or the stuff inside of the message is going to be the comment itself. So by grabbing this, we're going to have access to the comment model. Because the comment model has a user and a post associated with it, we can also do a def creator to get the creator of the comments. We can say that, and that gives us the comment.user. We could also do something for the post and do the comment.post. So hopefully you see how that works. These methods are now something we can use inside of our actual application. To do that, we're going to want to come to the index page, which is where we're going to put all of our notifications. And in here, we're going to want to split this up a bit. So we have our div with an ID of post. Let's do a .row in here for some bootstrap rows. And then let's do a .call dash, I guess, 6. Something like that. We're going to grab all of this, and I'm going to hold the Alt key to move this up. Once that's done, we can then come down here to this next div. We'll do a .call dash 4, and then inside of this one, we want to do a turbo underscore frame underscore tag for the notifications due. And then we want to come in here, and we want to say this is for the, what is it? The render. The render of the notifications where we pass in the user of a current underscore user, because we're going to be using turbo frame tags here. We don't want the current user anywhere near the stuff we're touching. Right click on your views, new folder, call this notifications. Inside of that notifications folder, right click new file underscore notifications.html.erb. And then inside of this notifications file, we want to check if we are the current underscore user. We can then come down here and we can do an end. And then inside of this, we can do a .container. So everything's spaced out a bit. We can then do a h6 for the notifications themselves. We'll say notifications, and then we can do a turbo stream from the notifications, but specifically for a user.id, which we just passed in, of course. And then we can do a turbo frame tag for the notifications underscore user underscore or user.id. We can then close this, close the quotes, put a do block here, put an end block here. The reason why we're including the user ID everywhere is because with Turbo, we don't have access to the user ID variable when we do our broadcast. So we need to pass all of that in from the outside. And then on the inside, we can do all of our fancy stuff. So inside here, we want to render that notification. And then we want to pass in a couple things. It's going to be the user will be the notification. Now, unfortunately, we do have to call .toNotification, but that allows us to access all of those methods. So now we can come down here and we can do this again for the post, and we can do it again for the unread notifications. So for the post, we'll say this is the post, and inside of here, we called it the post right here. And then for the unread, what we want to do is we want to check if this notification is unread. If it is unread, we want to pass in true. That way we can put in some custom rendering. Now we actually want to do this partial. Let's right click new file underscore notification singular.html.erb. And then inside of this notification, we want to do, we don't need a div. Let's do a if unread. So if this notification is unread, let's just do a span that says, this is unread. And then we'll do an end. And then down here, we'll do a span, I guess, for the user.email. And then down here, we can say commented on, and then we can do another span for the link to the post.title with the post being passed in, and then we'll close this span. I have to cough. Okay, so now we can come into the models for the comment, I guess. And then in here, this is sort of the home stretch. I think we're pretty much done. We haven't tested any of this, which is hilarious. This is definitely not going to work the first time. We need to do a after create commit. where we do a broadcast notifications. This is actually going to do two things, which is bad programming practice. Make sure your stuff only does one thing, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. First thing we have to do is only do this if the author is not the same as the user who created this comment. The user is the person who created this comment. The author is the post.user. Then we want to do a comment notification with the message. We could pass this in. This is where that message parameter comes from. The message will be self, and then we could do a deliver later to the post.user. This will then send it to the post user saying, hey, here's a comment notification. After we do that, we then want to do our broadcast. We want to prepend to the notifications underscore post.user.id, just like before. And then what are we targeting? We're going to target the notifications underscore post.user.id. And then for the partial, this should be the notification slash singular notification partial. And then for the locals, this is going to need to be the user, which we can just do a colon. We can then do the post with a colon. And for the unread, because this hasn't been seen yet, we can just pass it in true. Let's go ahead and let's save everything. Hopefully, make sure everything's saved here. It looks like it is. There's probably a save all button, but I'm full screen. Okay, so let's come over here and refresh the page. We do have a uninitialized constant for the post controller. I don't know what this is upset about. This is going to be, let's see, maybe in the routes is where this could be upset. Let's come into config and the routes.rb. We have the posts. This maybe needs to be the post controller index action. Refresh the page. That looks like it worked. Let's log in. Dean@example.com. We do need to actually create this account. Let's click sign up, paste this in. I'm going to use the same, the email as the password. Bad practice, but bear with me. Just lets me copy paste it to go faster. This takes us to the post new page. We'll do a test and a case for the post. We'll click create. Undefined variable or method for the post in the comment partial or the comment form, which means the underscore post isn't passing in the post properly, which it should be. It's rendering this, passing in the locals for the post. Okay, figured it out. This, we put the locals here. We don't need the locals. Let's get rid of that. And then let's go ahead and refresh. We do have the comment right here. Let's click create. The comments aren't appearing inside of the comments for some reason. Let me check the comments right here. .html.erb takes in the post.comments.h2 comment inside of the post.rb. It has many comments inside of the comments controller. We are not doing anything. Oh my god. Before action, authenticate user, def create. This needs to take in the app post. That works. Let's do a private for the def comment params. And then in here, let's do the params.requiredComment.permit body. There we go. Now if we do a 1, 2, 3, that creates the comment. And then if we come to the home page, we have an undefined method notifications for the current user. The user.rb needs to also has many notifications as recipient, something like that. That should then give us the ability to do that. Of course, we don't have any yet. We have to do a Control-Shift-N, go over to localhost port 3000, log in, sign up as john@doe.com with a password of, let's just do it with the email again because we're going to need this. We have to click this, then we have to go back. We have to paste this in again. This will let us log in, but we can go into this post and we can say hello. We can generate the comment. You can see right here immediately it pops up without even needing to refresh. I can click on this. It takes me to that post. And now if I come back in here, we pass in the this should be the unread, not the user. Now if we refresh, that works. So now the unread thing is gone. Let's do another one. We'll just create it. Now it's set to that. If we refresh, you'll see it goes away. We can do 1, 2, 3. It's set to unread. We can refresh. Unfortunately, that happens before anything else. Let's come into the post controller. And what we want to do is make sure we're marking this as read before we do the notifications. And now if we try this, we should be good to do a 222. And now if we refresh, it gets marked before we finish. And then if we come to the home page here for John, he has no notifications. He can do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 post. And then Dean can come in here and see that this is John's post, comment 2. And now if John goes back to the home page, he'll have that notification show up. We'll go ahead and stop the timer. Okay, so small bugs aside, that is real-time notifications implemented from scratch using the Notice Gem and Turbo in about 22 minutes. Yeah, you know, it's a lot. There's definitely a lot of steps you need to know here if you want this to work, because you kind of take for granted the fact that you have to know how to implement the posts and the comments to even get to the point where you can throw notifications in here. And I was kind of jumping all over the place. I highly recommend checking out the Notice Gem if you haven't already. I'll have a link to it in the video description. Notice Gem, I can just do this. The gem's made by Chris from GoRails, and it is a fantastic tool if you can figure out how to use it. So yeah, hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully it was helpful, although I doubt it considering the pace we went at. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next video.